Hi, I'm Randa Parrish with Prairie Quilt. Today I want to show you how to make some of your fancy stitches look beautiful. And there are some secrets to that. The first thing that I want to show you is some of the different feet that will help you on that. When you use a fancy stitch, such as some of these here, aren't those beautiful? A lot of times people will use those and they'll be puckered or gathered, and it's just simply because of two things. Number one, they're not using stabilizer if it calls for stabilizer, or they don't know how to use their foot properly. So that's what I'm going to try to help you with today. The feet with the Pfaff sewing machines have a little notch in them. Some of them do, and some of them don't, just like this. Now this one does not have a notch in it, so you wouldn't use the dual feed with it. It is for some of the fancy satin stitches. This is just a regular basic foot for a Pfaff machine. Today I'm using the Pfaff Quilt Expression, and this machine won the Consumer Digest Best Buy Award. This is the most popular machine that we sell at our shop. And when you turn it on, you'll notice that there's a lot of light here, but you'll also see this little leg back here, and that's what we call dual feed. It just snaps into position, as you can see, but it's actually built into the machine. We have a lot of trains in Hennessy. So, when I turn the machine on for stitch number 1, you're going to see that it just has the straight stitch here. And then if I want to know what foot to use, I just push this information button. The information button shows me that the default foot is 0A and to use the dual feed right here. I'll go to another stitch so you can see a different application. Let's go to 140. This stitch comes up here. Here is 2A is shown as the stitch. That's this presser foot right here. Not a slot in there because it's satin stitch. And then this little sign here is for stabilizer. So I know that I need a little bit of stabilizer under there. Just paper tear away is fine, or wash away or heat away. And then I want my feed dogs up, but I don't want to use my dual feed. Alright, we're going to go back to stitch number 1. So we would be using this foot, or we might use the piping foot for this. This is just a suggestion. This is your zipper foot. This is a number 4 foot, and many of the feet do have numbers on them. For you to remember how to put these on, just remember that the number should be facing you. So you would put this foot on just like this. Now the dual feed that I mentioned is right back here, and what I want to do is have you look at what this does when the feed dogs are up. Can you tell that the foot is pulling, it will be pulling your fabric at the very same time as the dual feed down below. So your feed dogs and your dual feed allow your fabric to pull through, and it has a much more precise stitch doing that. If you've ever sewn and you have 2 pieces of 4-inch squares and you end up with a 1/4 inch more of fabric, even though you've cut them correctly, you'll know exactly what I mean. There are a few other feet, such as the open toe or the embroidery feet and the ruffler foot, that do not go on this shank right here on this ankle, and they will go back in here in a hole right here and just screw. The only thing that you have to take the ankle off for is to use a ruffle foot. So this saves you a lot of time when you can just snap the feet off and on. I'm going to show you one of the stitches that I think is the second most popular stitch. You notice how I put that on. Just snap it into place. for quilters, and that is number 58 on this machine. That is the blanket stitch. What I'm going to do is thread this machine real quickly. Now I'm going to use this for applique. I've just got a little circle here that's been fused on there. What I want to show you is that when I put this into the sewing mode, I can push this right here. This is my presser foot down button, but when I push that, it will come up a little bit for me so that I can press that stitch exactly where I want it. And so I'm going to start appliquing. And you'll notice that when I do this, the needle always stays up. And that's how the machine is designed. If I press my foot pedal, it will go down for me. So I can be sewing. If I want it to go down, I just press my foot pedal. And look at this, the presser foot will lift up. So I can continue pivoting on this. Now, if I wanted to do that every single time, I'm going to go in the upright position, there is a button here that has a needle down position. I push that, my button goes down, and now I don't have to fiddle with my presser foot. It always comes down and my presser foot lifts up. There's also a knee pedal here that will allow for your presser foot to lift up. Personally, I don't use that hardly ever. I really like the feature where the presser foot will lift up automatically. Now, if I'm wanting to do this and I want to do a tie-off, where it would tie off at the beginning and the end and then cut, as you noticed when I first started this stitch, it went in position about 3 times before it ever started moving. That's because I have the tie-off engaged. And let me push number F2 right here on the screen. And you'll see that box is black. That's because I have the tie-off engaged. To turn that off or on, you just use this little check mark in the center of the ball. And so when it's dark, you know it's on. It also shows that at the end I have it tying off and I have the scissors cutting it. So let's say that I'm getting close to the end of this. And so what I'm going to do is push my reverse button, and that shows right here that it's going to do my 2 tie-off stitches. And when it's finished, it cuts the thread and it pulls my thread to the back, which is wonderful for applique. So that means all I have to do is pull my 1 beginning thread into the back of my stitch, and both ends are tied off. Now, if we're going to do one of these stitches, we go in and let's put 161 on here. It shows me the stitch. It's the actual size, and you'll notice that it says that it's 9 millimeters wide. Many machines only are 7 millimeters wide, but the Pfaff's, the basic models are 9 millimeters wide on just regular stitching. Here again, it shows me to use the 2A foot. It shows me to use stabilizer and just the feed dog set. One of the things that I love about this is that I can do individual stitches. So if I am starting a stitch, such as this ant, I can tell it to actually do just 1 stitch, which is really cool. The Quilt Expression 4 features 2 different fonts. This is the block letters, and these are the regular letters. And you notice that I put this on the ombre fabric. Doesn't it look pretty with the ombre going from dark to light? lot of buttonholes, so it's also great for the dressmakers. And you'll see all of your stitches right here on top. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and we'll be showing you more about the Pfaff sewing machines and little tips and tricks on sewing. Thank you.